I should unmute myself and truly welcome you to another edition of Queer News Live. I'm Anna DeShawn, your favorite queer radio personality, and I'm just glad you're here. Family, this is Queer News Live. I'm your favorite queer radio personality, Anna DeShawn, and I'm just so glad that you could make it tonight to hang out with us. We've got a special guest joining us in just a little bit, but while we wait on her, I figure we can go through some of the top queer news stories that I covered today on the podcast. Have you listened to it yet? I don't know. Have you? If not, tune in wherever you get your podcasts. Okay. Now, just to go over a few things though, because there's been a lot of good things happening. Yes, there has. There've been a lot of good things happening. First up, did you listen to the interview with Plant Queen, the one and only? Christopher was such a lovely interview. We had such great vibes when we talked about their green girls. Christopher literally cultivates 200 plants in their Brooklyn apartment. Okay. And you might know Christopher from the videos that they do on Instagram and TikTok, and they're always in green spaces, always in these third spaces, some of which they have actually helped to curate. Yes. And they come through with this inspirational, you know, messages that always hit, right? They're always on time. This one, mediocrity will always have an opinion about your ambition. Do not come down to explain yourself. I mean, and they always fabulous. Okay. Do you see that hat? Do you see it? I'm just telling you the truth. Christopher was a lovely conversation. They have built a brand, yes, on the internet that has given them the life that they've always wanted. We got to talk about their identity, talk about how they show up, and talk about how to take care of your green girls. Okay. I'm not the one with the green thumb. I'm not that person in my family or in this house. Okay. And so I needed some tips. Christopher provided those too. I think you will really enjoy this interview, this conversation. Yes. And Christopher's just delightful. So if you're not following the Plant Queen on the internet, what are you doing? Go ahead, do it. I promise you will not be disappointed. And I have really, truly been enjoying our summer series. Our summer series means that we're dropping an interview one week and a standard episode the next. And it's been nice. It's been nice to give the team a little bit of a reprieve doing the interviews. The interviews are a lot easier to do than, 5 or 6 queer news stories every single week. And we get a summertime, okay, in Chicago of hot weather, a strong 75 days. And so having pre-recorded content really does help the team actually be able to enjoy a Sunday afternoon. And so our summer series with these interviews has really, really been lovely. And so who knows, maybe we will keep it going, dropping more interviews on Fridays once we hit the fall season. But I will say it has been nice to be in conversation with folks again. It's been nice doing the YouTube lives. Yes. And talking with folks who are doing some good in the world and doing it for our community, because I think so many of you all want to know who they are. You just don't know. The algorithms put us in a place and then we don't see nobody else. Yes. But we get to bring them here on Queer News. And so that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. And tonight, family, we've got a special guest. Okay. We've got a special guest. Rio is joining us tonight. And I am so glad she's joining us. I got a chance to meet Rio at Creating Change. Yes. And the vibes. Okay. Top notch. Okay. The voice, you can't mistake it. Yes. You know when Rio's about to go up there and kill it. And so it is 3 times in a row. Okay. And so I don't want to waste no more time. I see Rio is here with us. Rio, welcome to the show.
Hello, for many different reasons, but we'll get into it.
Yeah, because you just out here living your truth. Okay.
Yeah,
Come
exactly.
on. It takes a lot of
Exactly.
courage to live out loud, right? Especially right now. Tell me how are you surviving in this moment?
I think that for me personally, A lot of things are happening and changing in my life. A lot of shifts and elevations are happening at the same time. So a lot of uncomfortability. I think as a collective, because the world is also shifting, I'm feeling all of that kind of energy too. And it's a lot of emotional, deliberate emotional disconnect that I'm trying to make sure that I do, like putting down baggage or putting down anything that feels emotionally like draining between the political space that we're in or between the idea of personal systems that we're trying to navigate. I'm really doing my very best to make sure that I stay centered as myself so that way I can be all that I need to be for myself and for people around me. And that in itself has felt like a little bit of a duty, but it's a duty I'll gladly do anytime.
Tell me, how do you center yourself these days? You meditating? You got some affirmations to share with us? What you
You
do
know
over
what?
there,
I
Ria?
am meditating. One of the things that I do every single day is when you first start the day, you have to start the day with intention. I think sometimes we kind of forget that, especially if we're busy bees. We get up, the first thing we thinking about is checking our phone, checking our emails, checking every vibe because we got stuff to do. And because we got stuff to do, we trying to hurry up and get to it. And our brains immediately go into survival mode without even realizing that that's what's actually happening. We have like normalized the idea of work into the idea of working your systems until you crash and then patting ourselves on the back for crashing. And I think one of the things that I do when I first wake up now is I do a gratitude kind of situation. I wake up and for 10 minutes straight without talking, I sometimes look at the ceiling. Sometimes I look out my window. Sometimes I go on the balcony. I just have to take 10 minutes to do nothing, but literally think about all the things that I should be happy for that's happening not next week, not later in the day, not yesterday, in that very moment. I'm happy that I'm being able to see trees and beauty. I'm happy that I am in a state that I just recently came to and being able to see all these beautiful experiences. I'm happy that I'm hearing crickets in the trees, and I'm also happy that I'm feeling the warmth of the weather in this like summer heat. You have to think about those things because then it gets your day started.
So I ain't gonna say ouch like you was talking about me, but maybe a couple ouches. I might have woke up today and just started working. Have. I might be a busy bee from time to time.
Yeah, you
That
see, and
that that
mhm.
might have happened to me today, real. I don't know. I don't know.
It's
But
so
you
easy
right.
though. It's so easy though to get into the
Yeah.
habit of not realizing that we're not pouring that kind of intention into ourselves because the world rewards us for being busy. Like we get rewarded for hustling and what's going.
Yeah.
As much as I love a good hustle, I
Yeah.
also think that after you get done hustling, how do you feel? And it needs to be good, just as good as the accomplishment. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Hustle culture will kill us. I know it. And I still woke up this morning. And got right to this computer. I sure did. I sure did. And I will do better tomorrow, Rio. I'm gonna do better
I like
tomorrow.
that. I like that.
Okay.
One day at a
Now you
time.
oh period. Now you're from Michigan, but you live in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And when you made it to Vegas, what was the goal? What was what were you looking to do?
So when I left Flint, Michigan, it was because I was 20 years old, closing in on being 21. And I originally had every dream and desire, like spirit voice kept telling me that I was going to be a drag queen super. Mm-hmm.
I thought I had it here in my notes. Keep me honest, Rio.
Mm-hmm. MX Las Vegas Trans Pride title holder.
That you you show up as your full and authentic self, rocking your beard, rocking the wig, rocking your looks. Okay,
Get into it.
making everybody go wild out here in
Okay,
these streets.
we're not quiet on the creek over here. We're
We
loud.
not quiet. We not quiet on the creek.
Not
Not at
over.
all. Not at all. And so in a moment where you homelessness, housing instability, transitional housing. Uh, nope, not drag. I'm finding myself,
Mm-hmm.
finding my gender identity, finding how I want to show
Mm-hmm.
up in the world.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get to the Rio that we see today? Because honestly, I think it takes, from where I sit, it takes quite a bit of courage to walk outside being all of who you are, right? And you do
Mm-hmm.
it so beautifully. But
Thank you.
I think it takes a little bit to get there. And there's probably some people watching who are still trying to
Mm-hmm.
find themselves, or maybe get to the place where they are comfortable in their own skin. And I
Mm-hmm.
would just love to hear more about that journey.
I would love to say that it was like some kind of like perfect thing that happened, but to be honest with you, it was messy. It was
Mm,
a journey of trial and error, peaks and valleys, and I really had to fall in love with myself. So I think everything on the outside had to become honest because of the fact that I was learning to be honest with myself on the inside. I
mhm,
think I lived, growing up in Flint, Michigan, growing up very Baptist in a very Christian household, youngest of five with a twin brother. I was constantly and consistently told how I was supposed to live and
mm,
compared for how I lived by my twin, who lived completely opposite of me. So I think that it gave me a complex of fear of thinking that I needed to shrink myself to be digestible or to be something that I never felt like. And it really put me in a very unnatural space. I was extremely self-conscious. I used to hide from everyone. I wear clothes that was 3 times my size because I just didn't
mm,
want to get talked about. I would get called a faggot every 5 seconds walking into school, whether it was at home. I just had a very negative experience overall. But even still, I still was this very like giddy kid who just genuinely wanted to make friends with people and just wanted to have friends.
mm,
And as I started to get older, it wasn't until high school that I actually really started to embrace my identity. And it was slowly but surely. It was through the Sadie's Hawkins dance. I got a mohawk and started to express myself first because I went through the levels of it. First, I thought I was this queer gay boy because this is what society tells us that that's what you have to be if you identify as something even remotely feminine. And it was so much more than that, but I didn't have no verbiage or language or anything to teach me that. So I kind of went
mm,
through the cycles and I kept transferring from one cage to another cage to another cage because none of them quite felt like me. But society kept on telling me, well, this is what you have to be because they themselves were still trying to catch up with the language, right?
mm,
And when I finally did get out of the idea of thinking that I was just this queer gay boy, it wasn't until closing into the end of high school because I had this longing, this desire to be in my full feminine energy and not just in the physical form but in the full manifestation of it. I would steal my sister's clothing, I would steal my mother's old ratted up wigs, and I would spend for the 30 minutes from after school from 4 to 4:30. I would be at home by myself and I would run into my mom's bathroom and I would go in there and I would try to apply whatever little ratted up makeup I could find, and I would live out my full identity in those 30 minutes. And I
wow.
didn't have a phone. I used to have a big personal laptop. So I used to take pictures with this laptop, these selfies, this big ass personal laptop. And you just couldn't tell me shit. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't giving what needed
You
to
were
be
working.
gave. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I
Yes.
felt so free, but I didn't know how to say this. And I knew my
Mm,
family wouldn't see value in this. In fact, I think that they absolutely, my thoughts was immediately that they would actually disown me
mm,
based off of what I've understood their ideas of anything related to queer identity.
mhm,
So it definitely, when I did finally come out the closet, it was because I had been pushed out the closet.
mm.
And it kind of forced me to have to deal with the conversation. And I kind of outed myself on accident by making a MySpace page. Y'all remember MySpace? Um,
Come on. How many
I,
backgrounds did you have? Okay, and
I had a MySpace page, and I because I felt so much in my oats that I just like, oh, I'm unclockable. You could never tell that this was ever me, and I promise you, it was very much giving, under the attic type of vibe. But I did a public outing on myself on accident when it came
oh,
to my gender identity because I literally said I wanted this alias name Serenity Ann Evans. And I said I was from New York, New York, because I have so much imagination. And I started adding everybody from Flint, Michigan, thinking like, oh my gosh, this is my Hannah Montana moment. Nobody will ever know that this is me. And by the next day, I came back home and my whole family was having an intervention for me in the living room with the computer screen turned towards me with my pictures
Oh,
plastered all over my space. And my
oh.
family was unhappy to say the least. And
Mm,
my mom, most of all, who I was like very close to, was probably the most disappointed that I've ever seen her
mm,
be. And she asked me, she said, "Do you want to be a girl?" And I
mm,
didn't really, because I had never had anything, not even one inkling of trans identity, anything around non binary identity
mhm,
to point to. And I was like, well, no, yeah,
mm,
maybe. I didn't really know how to answer it. And she just shook
yeah.
her head and she walked out. And all of my siblings and extended family followed after, except for my twin. My twin brother stayed
Mm,
behind. And he said, "Why are you doing this?" He said, "Don't you know that this is some weird ass shit?" He said, "Don't you know that you are breaking mama's heart?" He says, "You got to stop this shit. You're
mm,
like a freak." And he walked out. And I stood there and I stood there with all my shame and burden and I held it. And I had to figure out over the course of a few years how to stop holding it. And it wasn't
mm,
until maybe 2 years later that I actually changed my mind through my friendships and relationships I was building that encouraged me to lean into my identity, that I actually started to slowly be who I was. Some of my
mm,
friends gave me some of their outfits. Some of my friends gave me some hair. I started to practice makeup on my own. And it wasn't just about the expression, it was about the freedom of actually seeing who I felt like on the inside.
mm,
And what started out as the idea of just a drag expression slowly became entirely my actual reality. I realized that I was feeling more like a performance when I was out of the identity that actually felt good to me. The hair, the nails. I felt like I was performing more when I was in a more masculine space.
mm,
So yes, and many people was like, "Well, you must be trans." So I started the process of living as a trans woman in my early 20s, and that over time felt like another cage,
mm,
because being a trans woman specifically is someone who identifies in a space where they identify as a woman in all forms and fashions. And
mhm,
for me, it wasn't that linear. And I didn't really know
mhm,
how to have the language because there was no language for me to look up. So I'm like the blind leading the blind, really truly just trying to find my way. And people thought I was crazy. They
yeah,
genuinely
sure.
was like, "What's happening?" They was like, "You going from here to there, and you doing this to that," and they're trying to keep up. Even the people who were trying to be supportive was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happening here. I don't know how to support you.
Yeah,
Um, Pick something and stay there." And I was feeling that
sure.
burden, but I had to remove myself from it in order to actually hear myself. And when I finally did hear myself, the first thing that came to my mind, and I always say spirit, which is like to me like the higher voice in your head, said, "You're not this or that. You're everything and more." And right then and there was the emancipation and the proclamation of my freedom. And I
Yeah.
really genuinely have never looked back since then. And luckily, over the past several years, the verbiage is finally there. The conversations is finally open. And the people who are coming after us, who actually feel the same exact way that I did, now have people that they can look up and say, "Okay, this is what it is." And that's a part of the reason why I do the work that I
Rio, you just said so much. Now let me start with the MySpace.
do.
Now they talking about bringing the MySpace pages back. Okay,
Come on, my space. I'll be on it like
come on,
white on rice. I love
yo.
my space.
And
Top
I think
five, please.
top five. Okay, represent. And what I think is so significant about what you said there was that you found a space. You were like, I'm about to be who I am in this internet online space, and unbeknownst to you, inviting people because you feel like you stealth out here. Okay, ain't nobody gonna
Okay,
know who I am.
you didn't tell
You
me
know,
nothing.
can't tell me nothing. And I relate to that so much. When I look
Mm-hmm.
back on pictures of myself as a young person
Mm-hmm.
and looking as masked as I ever could be, and not understanding that what people were seeing on the outside was not who I was ready to be on the inside, but everybody
Yes.
else knew, but nobody told me. I
Yes.
look back on those moments and like, girl, what were you thinking? But I just wasn't there yet. On the other side, you were there. And you were like, ain't nobody gonna clock me, and yet everybody clocked. You walk in the
Clocked.
house,
Clocked. Ding dong
and
every 5
it
seconds.
sounded like you walked in the house and your life completely changed.
Yes,
Your life
it did.
completely changed in that moment.
It did.
Uh, and I'm wondering, have those relationships mended themselves, or have you had to just release those feelings, those family members?
Well, I thank you for asking. I actually, oh, over the course of years, it seemed like it was getting better. But over the past 4 to 5 years, when I made this my full time career as far as being an entertainer, educator, and artist,
Mm-hmm.
it did absolutely change. I'm not. I, I've lived in the same city as my mom for 5 years, and she's not spoken to me.
Mm-hmm.
So she hasn't really um, wanted to kind of like create the relationship. I did offer several times for us to do counseling, to get like a non-biased person to kind of help us really find our way together. But she has declined every single time. So I think my last time earlier this year was me finally making the full decision that I think maybe it's okay. Because over time I've gotten okay with the idea that we might not have the relationship that I wanted. But at first, I was doing all of this because of that. Like I was like, they might just think I'm a crazy crossdresser for the rest of my life. Who knows? But I would like to show them my worth by doing not only what I can do, but being one of the best at what I do if I can.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I did something, I would turn back with the hopes that I'll be like, see, like, do y'all can, like, do y'all see now that like this is not something that's just for play, you know? And every time I did, it broke my heart more. So I think that it wasn't until maybe about a year and a half ago that I actually started living for me after my father passed. Um, and it wasn't the easiest thing, but I find that the family that I have been able to make through friendships and relationships and soul family has been absolutely beautiful. And I feel like that makes up for what I might not have. But yeah, so that's pretty much how that went.
Yeah, chosen family saves us every single time, and
Mm-hmm.
community. And
Mm-hmm.
I know from being with around you and sharing space with you, your spirit, child, we attract what we
Come
put
on.
out. And your circle is also going to have a good spirit because that's
Come on.
exactly what you embody. And I love what you said about being the very best at what I'm going to do. I'm not just
Mm-hmm.
going to do it. I'm looking to be the very best at what I'm doing. And every time you get on that stage, every time that ball is about to pop off, I'm like, Rio going when Rio singing, like Rio just going.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Believe it or not, I literally learned how to sing in literally the church choir. And
It's
they were
always church.
it's always church, right?
Come
Church
on.
literally was like where I spent majority of my days. So the church choir was really the first place that I learned not just how like to use my voice in a different ways, but to sing with intention. And I still to this day literally utilize all the things I learned then to be able to perform in any place, whether it be in a club to being on a major platform. Like I love the idea of singing things that tell stories. And that's the reason why I think anytime I am going to perform, it needs to make sense to me what I'm going to perform. If I don't think it makes sense, I probably won't do it. Like if it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like I can tell a story, I won't do it.
Yeah, you're a purpose driven person. Everything got to have a purpose. Why am I doing this?
Everything. Okay.
Everything. We ain't wasting no time out here.
All purpose flour, all purpose seasoning. Very that.
Okay. And you're doing that in this moment because you got a workbook. Come on. Let's
Come on,
talk about
workbook.
it.
Come on, workbook. Yes, I
Come on,
do.
workbook, manifest destiny,
Mm-hmm.
crafting the life you've always imagined.
Mm-hmm.
Family, I'm actually going to put up a banner down here because there's a link. If you visit Rio's website, you can
Mm-hmm.
actually go and pre order. or order the workbook right now. Okay. And that's what we
Absolutely.
about in this life, supporting each other and supporting this work. Cause Rio out here, they singing, they performing, but y'all they writing. Okay. They
Okay.
want you to live your best life. So
Yes.
tell us, Rio, how this book has actually come together.
Okay. So, like I said, I've been doing social work professionally for years. It started out in community service and in the community advocacy and engagement, and then it switched into social work. And I've utilized every single tool from my social work background into what I do now in my outreach and advocacy and community engagement on the platforms that I use, whether it be social media or in person. One of the things that I've learned through my own self discovery is literally how to fall in love with myself in order to create the life that actually I want to see. I think that subconsciously we don't realize that we manifest our reality every single second, not just day, but second, because every single thought that you have, conscious and subconscious, really is how you start to actually move throughout the day. And it's not I didn't want this workbook to feel like the average workbook where it'd be like, oh, if you just do these 5 things and you call these 5 people, you'll get into a place of power. All of these things are absolutely true. But the thing is, when you're telling someone how to do 5 steps in the physical form, we're still not engaging with them on the emotional and spiritual form that they actually are probably having bigger issues on. Somebody could be like, I really want to change my life, but because they are still dealing with the burden of sadness, depression, the burden of thinking that they're not good enough, the burden of hearing somebody in their ear years ago tell them that they wasn't worthy, they are still trying to fight through that to do the thing that they actually really want to do. So on the surface, they got all these tools, but underneath, they're still struggling and don't know how to even start. But because nobody talks about the inner struggle and how to manifest your life through the inner struggle and transmuting that, most people think that they're broken or they don't have the right um, engine to make moves. And when they do that, they start to then self demise and victimize. They start to be like, well, I don't really, I tried all the things, I couldn't do it because I wasn't good enough, da da da. Also, am I moving slowly? Can you see me?
I can see.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So what I will say is that to me was the reason why I made this, and I made this off of my entire life journey so far. Every single thing that I wrote in this book, I have used, and I use on a daily basis because it has helped me create a life that is absolutely on paper should not exist. I am, as I like to say, a short, queer, chunky, femme, like non-binary person, bearded bitch, for lack of a better word. You get what I'm saying? By
Gotcha.
society standards, I should be laughed at in every room that I'm in by society standards. But not only am I not laughed at, I'm respected. I am
Welcomed.
I am welcomed and I am elevated, not because I'm somebody extra special, but because I told myself I'm worthy. And I trained myself to believe that that's all I deserve. And every single thing that comes to me is going to interact with me in that same way. And I think a part of the reason why I get to do it as this variation of myself, this bearded, like over, like, um larger than life kind of energy, is because it needed to be so clear that anyone can do this. It needed to be so clear, and my life is used as an example to help show people like, well, if this bearded bitch can do it, I know I can, and I
But
like
what
that.
but what gives you the audacity? And tell me, what is the secret sauce? Okay. Because I know somebody out here wondering what it is and they want a piece of it. So
Mhm.
what's the secret sauce, Rio?
The secret sauce literally is audacity and also courage. I think when we think about the word courage, we think of somebody who is immediately confident, knows exactly what they want to do and go for it like a straight shooter. And that could not be further from the truth of what courage actually is. Courage is doing shit shaking in your fucking boots, scared as hell, not really knowing what the fuck the next step is really gonna be, but doing it anyways. It's literally saying, I don't really know exactly what I'm looking at, but I do know I have every feeling and emotion that I'm supposed to be doing this, and I'm gonna make that shit work every step of the way. Walking in the darkness, knowing that the steps are going to form as you go. If we could see every step in front of us, I think that everyone would be living a dream life. It is the reason that we can't see every step is why people stay in safe zones where they live a life where they know exactly what's going to happen. They know their bills are going to be paid tomorrow because they stay at the job that they hate. They stay in the fields that they don't like. They stay in the relationships that feel safe because they've known each other for years and it's familiar. And I implore people to think about those things in every way. Yeah, non-binary in general is literally not about gender identity alone. Yes, I have learned that my gender identity is so expansive, but really non-binary is an entire thought process, it's an entire lifestyle. Because when you think about it, you put a cap, if you when you don't put a cap on anything that you're capable of doing, you really showcase to yourself and everybody exactly what the fuck you're capable of doing, and you wow yourself every fucking day. You be like, damn, I ain't okay. I didn't know I could do that. I kind of like that. Okay,
I kind of like
okay,
how I
do
showed
that.
up there.
Yeah.
And you know what I really love also about my non-binary sibs in particular is that there is a freedom, right, that you experience when you have truly found who you are in the world and you choose to show
Mm-hmm.
up that way every single day. There is the courage, there is the audacity. You talk about not being able to see all the steps, you know, that's faith, that's living through faith, like, right. And there's a freedom that I think so many people are threatened by because they can't be free themselves. And so, Rio, when I see you doing your thing, I'll be like, I'm gonna be just that free out here in these streets, uh,
I
just
like
like
that.
Rio. I love it. Absolutely. Now we want you to go pre-order this book, okay? Now the link has been scrolling here. We want you to go there, click purchase. Yes,
Yes.
it's gonna come to your house so you can create the life that you want. And then
Yes.
Rio, how else can folks follow you? How can folks stay in tune with you and
People
support
can
you out
follow
here?
me on all of my platforms. My most popular used platforms is between TikTok and Instagram. But my website is also a great way to follow me, which is RIOANTONE. You can message me directly from my website on any of my um, communication pages on there. I would love to communicate, connect, and also it has a guild of my services that I present. I travel across the country, so like whatever, wherever you need me, I'll be there. I genuinely love collaborating. I love working with people. I love working for people's events, businesses, and formats, and just utilizing my talents. So, shout a lady boy out. Come mess with me. I genuinely do great work. The website also showcases that, so you can kind of see a little bit of what I do or have done. But yeah,
That's it, family. Book Rio today. Period.
today,
Okay,
so
get the
this
book today. Because let me just tell
okay.
you, I've seen Rio in action. You will not be disappointed. However, you choose to book them, whether it's the consulting work, um, you know, it's the performer work. Okay, book them for both. Yo,
Please
we
do.
have to we have to support each other out here. We all we got. And family, Rio is bringing so many gifts, being exactly who they are in the world, and more people need to hear from you.
Thank you so much.
I believe
I
you.
look so much forward to us connecting again soon. I also would like
Yes.
to put out there that the actual publication for the books after pre-order will be available in fall time. So please keep an eye out. I am very excited. So if anybody would like to also then get a hard copy then and wait to that time, that's also great.
All right. So it's gonna drop in the fall. Pre-order, drop in the fall. We're gonna be ready to
Come
get our
on.
copies out here. Okay. Thank you, Rio, for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm
Of
very proud
course.
of you, by the way. You
Oh,
doing your thing.
thank you, friend. Thank you.
Absolutely.
This is the first time, but not the last time, because you got to come back in the fall when the book drop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because we got
Okay.
to do another push. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Period. Thanks, Rio.
Thank you.
Thanks. Family, you already know what you got to do. Pre-order the book. Okay. We got to support Rio out here being just fabulous in absolutely everything they do. And I want to share with y'all, this week is so lit because on Thursday, our special guest is going to be the one and only Punky Johnson. She coming through the show, okay? We're going to talk about her role on The Shy. Yes, we're going to talk about her being on Saturday Night Live, okay? Talk about what it mean to flirt with Michael B. Jordan, huh? So many things to talk to Bucky about. And we're going to have a really, really good time on the show on Thursday. So tune in on your lunch break, okay? You say you don't take lunch? Okay, that's all right. Have us on during the time. Yes. 12 o'clock, Chicago time. Yes, Funky's going to join us on Thursday. We're going to have a real good time. Family, this is Queer News Live. We're here every Monday at 7, Thursdays at noon, giving you the queer news you need, what you're looking for, keeping you informed. That's what this is all about. And it's been a tough week, you know? It's been a tough week. If you haven't seen the video, I went to the Sky Fever game and the transphobes there and everything that's happening, all that transphobic energy, you know, it's so old and tired and harmful all at the same time. And it got me in a mood today. But talking to Rio, talking to Rio really lightened my load a little bit tonight. Lightened the weight that I've been feeling because what's happening right now is just it disgusts me at a serious level, and it's so unnecessary, and yet the right is so well funded and they do propaganda so well that they are causing such great harm and they don't care. And so it had me feeling a certain type of way today, but talking to Rio really put a smile on my face tonight. So family, it is in that spirit that I tell you, talk to somebody who's going to put a smile on your face tonight. Yes, that's going to remind you that there is still good in this world and there is still good to do. Yes. And that's what we're here for. Family, please go listen to the episode today, wherever you get your pods. We got a lot of good news stories there. And join me Thursday at noon right here on YouTube and Facebook, wherever you're joining from. Yeah, I needed this tonight. Thank you, family. I'll see you next Thursday. All right.